Of course, our top story today, unemployment hitting its highest level since 1983. That is drawing attention on the nation's campuses. What are the job prospects for recent grads, and how worried should current students be? Joining us now, the president of the University of Michigan, Mary Sue Coleman. Dr. Coleman, welcome.
Thank you.
So 10.2 unemployment right now in this country. What are you telling students about their job prospects?
Well, you know, our students that graduating from the University of Michigan have always been able to, find opportunities out there. And I think in these days, we encourage our students to get internships. We encourage them to really get out there and be aggressive about searching for jobs. And maybe at the first they won't be able to get their dream job, but they need to get the foot in the door. So, so far our students seem to be handling all this pretty well.
How is the university itself faring in this economy? You've had to eliminate jobs, you've reduced contributions to employee health benefits, you've even had to close the public TV station.
Well, Michigan itself as a state has been in a recession for the last 7 years, and so we've gotten very used to finding ways to economize and to rationalize our cost structure. And so I feel pretty good about where we are. In fact, we've worked collaboratively with our faculty and staff. We have not had any massive layoffs. We haven't had furloughs. We actually gave a salary increase this year, and I feel pretty good about where we are because many, many years ago we diversified our revenue streams because we understood that we could not rely on the state for the majority of our funding.
So then when do you anticipate being able to add to cost to start spending again?
Well, actually, we're doing that already. We put a program together 2 years ago, $30 million to hire 100 new faculty on top of our normal faculty hiring, and that program is still underway. We're still hiring. We are still looking for cost efficiencies, but in fact, we are in very good financial shape. In fact, we have one of the largest building booms, $1.5 billion in construction on the campus as any university in the country. So I feel like we've managed extremely well.
Dr. Coleman, did this management start before this economic downturn? Did you see something that other universities did not?
Well, I think the fact that we were in the state of Michigan probably helped us because I've been at the university now for 7 years, and every year that I've been here, we've had to find cost efficiencies because our state has had trouble funding the universities in the ways that they did during the 1990s. And so, in fact, we've become very disciplined. We have a very good and diversified revenue strategy for the university, and so we are handling this, I think, extraordinarily well when I talk to colleagues around the country.
Dr. Coleman, Michigan's $6 billion endowment, you've earned a 9% return over the last decade. That's ultimately preventing any need for debt to support operations. How have you done that?
Well, we've had a very good strategy. 10 years ago, we formed our own investment office, and we hired extraordinarily good people. We've also benefited in our investment advisory committee from some of our best alums in terms of helping us. And so we are not dependent on the equity markets in the United States alone. I mean, we've been able to get into some alternative investments, very good venture capital funds. And so we've been invited into some of the best investments, and our strategy has been prudent. We've never put our short-term operating capital at risk in terms of putting it in long-term investments. And so I think our strategy has been both conservative. It's been looking at the infinite horizon. We have a 7-year rolling average for our payout on the endowment. We've done things to find the sweet spot in terms of smoothing out the payout curve for in terms of our units, but also in growing the endowment over time. So I think that strategy has served us very well and certainly has served us well in this downturn.
Have you had conversations with the managers of your endowment and how to adjust for these volatile times going forward?
Well, I think always our sort of investment team has taken the long view, and they've made the right they've just made the right investments at the right time. So we've never had a liquidity problem. We've never put our short-term needs at risk. Our capital construction has always been based on not money that we hope to have, but money that we actually have. And so I feel like we've had both a conservative but also a very smart strategy in the way that we've invested the funds of the university.
Dr. Coleman, it sounds like the state could learn a thing or two from the University of Michigan. Why haven't they been implementing your strategy?
Well, the state has a few different problems than we have, and so I certainly feel bad for the concerns that the state has right now, but we've had the ability over time to really think about not having any one piece of the university too dependent on a single revenue stream, and that has helped us enormously in going forward. We've also, I think, benefited from having the investment team that really understood taking the long view and sequestering funds that we needed in the short term so that we didn't put things at risk.
So you had no exposure to those risky assets, the CDOs, any of the mortgage-backed stuff that turned toxic?
No, we did not. We have been, as I said, we never had a liquidity problem at the university. We were watching that very closely during the February-March timeframe when things got so bad, but we were never in danger. We have a AAA bond rating at the university, and that has permitted us to borrow money at very low interest rates, so that the construction that we have done has been done very efficiently and actually at very low cost. So I feel really good about where we are in terms of our financial strength, and that has protected us now and not having us have to make some of these jarring changes that many universities are having to face,
right,
because they had too much of their operating budget tied up in a single revenue stream.
Now, what's this about allowing Google to use your library? Can you tell us about this and why you got involved with the company?
Sure. Well, we started our partnership with Google back in 2004, and the goal was no less than to digitize all the entire 8 million volumes of the university library. And we're very excited about this project. We and other universities have partnered with Google because we believe that making information available to the world is very important, and it's certainly an important function of libraries. So now, as you know, that Google was sued by the publishers. We're not part of the lawsuit. And I understand that perhaps the settlement talks will, we hope, come to completion pretty soon, because we think this project is one that is going to benefit humankind enormously.
Dr. Coleman, were you ahead of the curve on this?
We were the first university to really get serious about digitizing the libraries. In fact, we had a very robust digitization project before Google joined us, but with their financial help and their technology, I mean, they had technology that we did not have to make the process so much more efficient than we'd been able to do it alone, that it's made a huge difference. So yes, I think we've digitized now probably, we're 4 million volumes, so we're ahead of anybody else in the game.
One more topic, Dr. Coleman, before we let you go today, and that, of course, is the swine flu. Any extra costs or arrangements the university is taking on to prepare for a possible pandemic?
Well, you know, we really started getting serious about flu pandemics back several years ago when the SARS, you remember when the avian flu, everybody was so scared about that. And we started tabletop exercises, planning, contingency planning. So we've been in it now for several years. I feel like that we have very good strategies in place. We've not seen large numbers of cases on our campus, though we don't know what the future is going to bring in terms of waves. But I feel very good. And our students, I'm very pleased that they are doing well.
And Dr. Coleman, I'm sorry, we're going to have to leave it there. Mary Sue Coleman, president of the University of Michigan, joining us from Detroit.